Hey guys, welcome back to the Homestead. I'm Tony,
I'm Casey.
and we are the Schulte family homestead, and we want to talk about what homesteading means to us, what our goals are, and how we're going to get there, what we've done so far, and just everything that homesteading is different to everybody else, really. So our meaning and definition could be different than yours. It's just a matter of how far you really want to take it.
With us being in the city, as you can tell, the barking dog next door, with us being in the city, we are a little limited as far as certain varieties and just the extent of things. We can't have the animals. I think we can legally have chickens, but we just don't have the space. We do have 2 kids, we have a dog, big dog that needs some space, and the backyard's already small enough for him. So, animals like goats, cows, chickens, it's not a reality for us at this point, and we'll get there someday, but as long as we're here, it's just not quite where we can be. We want to be there. So I think even what you want out of homesteading can change, and that's what we hope to do, is adapt and change to what's thrown at us. Recently, Tony lost his job, so right now we kind of have to adapt and change how we do things. It helps having some veggies that we can grow and can to keep going, just less we have to buy at the store. That's kind of one of my goals when it comes to homesteading for us, is just ways to be more frugal at the store, getting less at the store, trying to make things that we have at home work, and just trying to get away from all those materialistic money wasting things. And I think just kind of rolling with the punches, it's just that's what you got to do.
Yeah, we've already cut out quite a bit of wasteful stuff like cable. We weren't really watching cable. We'd watch Netflix more than cable. We have Hulu, but we're not even watching that, so we're getting rid of that at the end of this month.
We suspended it, which that when we were looking at different cancellation options, that was an option, was suspending it. So we thought, well, all right, we can do that for now, and kind of see where we're at in a few months, because just trying to readjust our budget, that work, being able to do that. And I'm thankful that places or companies like Hulu and the streaming services offer things like that to suspend instead of just full out canceling and things like that.
I honestly watch more YouTube than anything else anyway, so I could almost do without all of it, but it's nice to have, especially with the kids. We can keep them occupied for a little while. We can watch movies when we have time to sit down together. We can grab a movie, watch that for a little while, and have a nice little in-home date night, something like that, just to be together and watch something on TV. Because to me, homesteading is all about the family. More time spent instead of having to have a job that's trying to pay. You're always looking for more money, but does the money come with more hours? Or if there's not enough money, do you have to take another job? And you lose all that time with your family. And our kids, they're 3, and Lorelai is going to be 5 here next month. So they're in that time that they really need family time, and that's something we want to do. So being able to grow our own food and spend more time at home is just, it's huge for their development, us as a family, the happiness. Because even not having a job and worrying about all that, I am happier now than I have been in a very long time. So it's just, the stress level goes down. Not necessarily goes down, but it's a different kind of stress that if it's something you want to do, it's a lot easier to deal with the stress than if it's something you don't like doing or don't want to do.
Yeah, we're not in a point to where we can go off grid and do everything to sustain ourselves at this point. I work about 30 hours a week, and right now it's just not enough. And so that's, you know, the adjustment where Tony used to work during the day, I would work at night to avoid daycare and things like that, because it's just so expensive. And if we can work it out like that, why not? And the kids will be starting preschool right after Labor Day weekend, so that's kind of one of those things that when Tony mentioned, you know, spending more time as a family, because they are going to be getting out of the house just for a couple hours. The way the preschool is set up, it's just a couple hours for the day, and it'll kind of give me some time by myself, and depending on what Tony finds, or right now we're kind of our agendas are kind of open, because nothing's really tying us here. Where I work, I could transfer, and as long as there's a Menards close by, you know, I could transfer to a different location. And when we were looking for houses or property up to stay in the northern Indiana region, just because that's where his work was at, it's no longer tying us here. And at this point, as much as I like here, this is a home to me, born and raised right up in here, and being so close to our family, my dad and his mom and stepdad, and just all of our extended family, they're all here, and leaving, I think, would be the harder part of that, would be like the family aspect. But at this point, you know, for our goals of wanting to do a more homesteading type of lifestyle, and having those animals to help feed us and, you know, give us those things that will just help us grow. You know, you get milk and cheese and different products from different, you know, from cows and goats, and you can get meats from different animals and stuff that we don't have to rely on the stores for the things that we'd be able to raise right in our own backyard. And not this one though, because it's too small. So I think, you know, while we have our goals and we've done pretty good with our garden this year, it's a lot bigger. We've had some fails and some flops, but we're learning. And I think now it's just a matter of finding that next step, and wherever it may take us, and where we can look next, and kind of what our options are.
Yeah, because our city lot, it's been kind of a stepping stone. We started our garden here. Neither one of us has ever grown a garden on our own before. We've helped out with our parents' gardens a little bit, but learning, starting seeds indoors, right times to plant, and compost, and just all the different kinds of things that you really need to know for gardening or raising animals to be more sufficient, self-sufficient, and to get the harvest that you're going to need to even do 6 months worth of food for yourself. Like, we know we can't just start out and go, boom, we grew a year's worth of food, we don't have to go to the grocery store for vegetables anymore. That's not realistic when you first start out, because you are going to have fails. Like our cucumbers, we were super excited. Well, Casey was excited.
Yeah,
I don't like cucumbers.
He doesn't like cucumbers or pickles.
But we were super excited to grow them, and they an absolute flop.
We've had cucumbers grow, and a lot of them, there was just such a surge in watering. We had a pretty wet summer, so for a little while we didn't have to water from the tap, and they were just spurts. And the vegetables, there's definitely a nutrient deficiency with them, and just didn't catch it in time, and having to start the seeds because they're in containers, so maybe next year we just know not to put them in containers, to watch the kind of nutrients that are going into the ground that they're growing out of, because it was just kind of a flop on a couple different levels within the soil, within maybe planting time and watering. So there's just a lot of different variations that could have led up to the the failing of our cucumber plants. I never caught enough of a harvest for a large batch of canning.
Even just a single batch.
Yeah, they weren't enough. And next year we just know to maybe not do in containers. is something that we can keep watering at a better,
more
schedule.
consistent intervals. Same as tomatoes. When we found that the more they get watered on a consistent schedule, the less they split.
And we learned that last year when we watered them all the time.
We watered way too much last year.
And they were just splitting left and right.
And then this year we haven't watered enough, so when they get water, then they all crack. And so it's just a learning process, and you can't homestead without always being open to learning something new. Mm-hmm. Whether it's by trial and error, or you look it up, you find somebody that you can look to and ask questions. There's always something to learn. And it's challenging, and I think that's why I like it so much, is because there's always a challenge and a problem to solve, and I like to be challenged.
I think also for the people that we follow on Instagram and those that follow us and the interactions, definitely just kind of makes you see, how big the homesteading kind of community is. And not that like seeing other people's failures or flops is comforting, but it's definitely reassuring to know that it's not just us. There are other people out there that are having troubles and bumps in the road like we're having, and what helped them overcome it. And that's why we like interacting so much on Instagram, especially. That's kind of been our biggest kind of social media outlets, just because it's very easy to follow each other and commenting, and there's just, you get the what are they, stories?
Yeah.
You can kind of get the glimpse into little blips here and there of just the real life of people that are living the lives that we want to live, and trying to make our own life living it like that. So I think learning and finding ways, sometimes Tony gets frustrated, and, I just kind of have to say, okay, so we know not to do that next time. So you just kind of have to, ebb and flow, and you have to just kind of roll with the punches. And, with him losing his job, that was a big punch for us just financially, because we're not stable enough to make it on our own without these jobs. And, we have a small lot, and it's just we're not at that point, of being that self-sustainable at this point. So at this time in the summer where some of the crops are just kind of getting over with, cucumbers are done, like the blackberries at my dad's house, those are done.
We got so many blackberries though, and I'm extremely excited to do blackberry jam. I know I've said strawberry jam is my favorite, but in reality blackberry jam goes well above and beyond strawberry.
I don't like blackberry jam. I don't like blackberries. So, but that's the thing, we don't just grow things that everybody likes. We do grow things that I like. We grow things that he likes, and we, do things that the kids like. And I think it's fun for them as well. I've noticed, even Lorelai's way more apt to try something that's come from the garden. Even things that you wouldn't think, like green peppers. We made kebabs. And she was so excited. She was making her own kebabs, and she was really excited, and I never thought that she'd really eat the green pepper. And I think she only had like 1 or 2 little squares.
But she tried it.
But she tried it. And I think that's important to kind of get your kids involved. When Tony was mentioning, family is his main goal, his main focus when it comes to this kind of lifestyle that we are striving after, and just getting the kids involved. And I definitely admit we probably don't get them involved enough. Lorelai's been kind of forced into it, because the way that Tony planted the tomatoes, they're too close together, so he can't get to them, and Lorelai's little arm can. So but she enjoys it.
Physically cannot get between the rows. As much as I tried to tame the tomatoes.
Yeah, she gets excited. She goes, "Come on! I thought we were gonna pick tomatoes." She likes being able to help out, and she asks, "When can I help? Why? I want to help. When can I pick these tomatoes?" And so I think it's good, and it's kind of fun just to get the kids involved. And while Hunter's still a little bit young, doesn't quite understand, he definitely understands the picking part. He understands the eating part, and that to me is the most important part.
And the digging and turning soil and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he's a digger. He's a boy, so if he can get dirty, that is his absolute favorite.
Yeah.
So you can't. if we come outside, he finds a patch of dirt, and if he can't find a patch, he will make a patch. So getting hit, like the spring when we were getting ready to plant everything and I was spreading compost, he was all over it, just helping, getting his little shovel out. We bought him their own little cultivator, rake, and shovel, and they were just helping all kinds of crazy. And now, like she said, Lorelai can get in there and pick the tomatoes. I think we'd be able to have them in there a lot more if we weren't so compact in the garden, because it is so small, the lot's so small. So I planted everything super intensely, which I think is probably the main reason our zucchini failed, is because I had 8 zucchini plants in a 9-foot area, and they're supposed to be...
But we did get lots of zucchini.
We did get a lot of zucchini, though,
but we didn't, and I didn't feel like it was so overwhelming when it finally hit that point where it was like zucchini time. We just shredded a bunch of it, which is what my plan was to do anyway, was to shred it. And
we were given a food processor as a hand-me-down probably 2 years ago, and we haven't really used it that much.
It came in handy.
There was a shredder blade, so I just used that to shred up. I think I did 21 zucchini in probably a 20-minute period.
Yeah.
It just makes it so easy to be able to do it.
And it came in handy when you're doing the strawberry jam, too.
Yeah, I used it for the strawberry jam just to get more consistent pieces.
And that was a huge plus, because we had a flop of canning strawberry jam last year, with it not being cooked as long as it needed to be, so it was just very thin. It would have been great. Like if I would have...
We used it for pancakes and waffles, stuff like that. It was more of a syrupy...
Yeah, and very large chunks of strawberries. So this time, using the food processor this year made it the perfect...
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency to spread on some bread, to spread on a biscuit. We've put it on strawberry or on pancakes, and it just worked out really well. And so we kind of
didn't grow the strawberries.
No, yeah, we got those from the store.
I will link the video of us cutting strawberries since we're talking about it. I have yet to do a how to make strawberry jam video.
But we have still plenty.
We still have probably 10 batches of strawberries in the freezer that we still need to can. But for us to get a good video of a cooking how-to video, we both have to be around. And usually, like she said, she's been working second shift, and I've been talking to a construction company. I might be going back doing some construction, at least for temporary, until we can find something maybe a little better for me. But that would be a day job again, so we're back to different shifts. But going back to what she was talking about earlier was the community of like Instagram, and if you watch Justin Rhodes, them and Art and Bree and the Hollers and
Sarah and Kevin with the Living Traditions, that's what it's called.
Well, I'm talking to the North Carolina people, because they all come together.
Yeah.
And they met through YouTube and social media, and everybody in the homesteading community. And the more you really get into it and you look through the Instagram posts, and everybody is just willing to help each other. Nobody is there to keep information to themselves, because it really doesn't do any good.
Yeah.
So everybody, and all the YouTube videos that I watch, that's all they're doing is sharing information.
And you'd be surprised, well, maybe not surprised, but it's encouraging when people appreciate you sharing things. We gave some tomatoes to the neighbor across the street, and I was talking to him today before I went to the store, and he said, oh, by the way, thank you for those tomatoes. You know, my wife Paula loves them. You know, we really appreciated it. And it makes you feel good when you can do something for others, not to get anything in return. We're not looking for anything like, I know that's not one of my goals, is to get anything like that out of this. I think what I'm looking to get out of this is just
it's satisfaction.
The life. It's just, I want the life out of this. I want the homesteading kind of life. I want that that ability to be able to grow my own food and raise my own food and raise my children to appreciate where the food comes from. Some people love living in the city, and I think that's great. There are definitely resources out there, farmers markets and patio gardens and stuff like that that people take advantage of. But for me, it's not what we want. It's not what I want. So I think those that can make their goals become like a reality in the city it's amazing. It's awesome, and kudos to you. For us living in the city, it's not cutting where we see ourselves, where we want to be.
Even really suburbia isn't for us. We both grew up really in suburbia. Neighborhoods, no real association fees and stuff like that. You could still do what you wanted, but the houses are still a little too close together. And for us to find property with enough acreage that we would want in an area like that would just be so far out of a price range that it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, even just to find 5 acres around here in a rural area is
upwards of
$200,000, $300,000, $400,000.
Yeah, and that's just not a reality for us.
And that's not even tillable land. That would still need to be completely worked, and we really don't want to be around some of these farmers that spray all the glyphosate and all that kind of stuff, especially with all the lawsuits and everything coming out with the cancer and everything. I'm not a fan of chemical weed killers and stuff like that. We've grown everything here organically. I haven't even put any type of fertilizer down on anything. I used rabbit manure when we first planted everything, and compost. And our garden is doing 1,000,000 times better than a lot of people that we know, like my parents especially. They've used Miracle Grow. Now, they did let it get a little overgrown with weeds, like up to my waist, and I'm 6 foot tall. So
it's under control now.
it's more under control now, but they did lose a lot of their plants. But last year, we had actually started their tomato plants for them. And just doing how we did ours, our plants outproduced theirs by at least 30%.
Yeah.
So I know what we're doing with organically growing and not using a bunch of fertilizer. It works. And we're not putting those chemicals into our bodies or anybody that we share the food with. Because I don't even like tomatoes. I've been eating the ones out of our garden, and they're not so bad. But like going to the
deals with them.
Going to the grocery store and buying a tomato, they're slimy. I don't like a slimy tomato. And the ones coming out of our garden, I don't know if it's just a variety or what it is, because we grew the Jet Star slicer tomatoes from Baker Creek, and they're
just good tomatoes.
They're good tomatoes.
Yeah. They're sweet, they're juicy. You get they still are kind of meaty.
It's perfect to put on a hamburger.
It's great to put on a hamburger. I put mine on a Boca burger last night, and it made the burger. It really did.
So being able to grow that, and we have 42 tomato plants. We have 11 of the Jet Star, and we have 31 Amish paste tomatoes, because we really like tomato sauce.
And we cook a lot with the juice. We cook a lot with the sauce.
The juice and the sauce. Last year we did just plain tomato sauce. This year she wants to do an actual spaghetti or an Italian sauce.
I wouldn't mind trying to do salsa or something. A couple jars of salsa. That'd be kind of cool. We have plenty of tomatoes.
We got some wide mouth jars. We can do
And we have the green pepper. We have the jalapeno. We have
so many jalapenos.
And onion. Oh God, the onion. Oh God. Oh, the onions.
So we grew 100 onions this year. They were all real little. Cause I think we did them in a container. I think they were way too close together, so they just didn't grow right.
If you saw my Instagram post, it was
hilarious.
It was awful. The smell, I was like, let's get a fan and blow the scent right. It just made the house stink. It made my eyes burn all night long.
So we know next year that onions need to be cut outside.
Outside, and he can do it.
But we got 4 quart bags full to put in the freezer to do soups or eggs, or just pull out the bag out of the freezer and put a little handful in what you're making.
That's what we did with the green peppers last year. We just
and
diced
green
them up
peppers, we've done the same, and we did that to all the jalapenos so far this year too. And we still have so many jalapenos growing.
Yeah, I definitely think we kind of overdid it, because I feel like, especially with something like the jalapenos, and I just feel like we may have, even though we're saving them and we're freezing them to use them for a later date, I just feel like there's going to be too many for us to consume, because very rarely do I ever buy jalapenos from the store, just because we don't use them.
But I love to eat the jalapenos in all my stuff. I like spicy, but not too spicy, so jalapeno is right up that alley.
But I feel like we may have overdone that, because like the cayennes, we're going to be...
I planted 18 plants, and the zucchini kind of destroyed 9 of those. So we only have 9 plants. And I think that's actually going to be perfect. Yeah. Because we're just going to dehydrate them, and we're going to do crushed red pepper, which we actually use a lot of. Yeah. So the cayenne is, we should have grown that in a different place, and maybe flip-flop the jalapenos. But we know for next time, for next year.
Yeah, we might not even have to really plant, and maybe a plant or two.
We'll put 1 or 2 plants of jalapeno for fresh. Yeah. To do some jalapeno poppers, stuff like that. Yeah. But we just have so many that the diced will probably last us 2 years. Mm-hmm. And what we have left, I'm going to try to pickle most of them for sandwiches, and my mom would love the pickled jalapenos to put on her sandwiches, and we just know a lot of people that would eat pickled jalapenos like that. So we have, 17 jalapeno plants back here?
I don't know.
I think there's 17, and they're still flowering. So we still have a lot that we're going to be getting. But in abundance, to be able to share the food with other people, it's gratifying.
I think that's going to be some of our next our next goals. Small time, not short-term goals.
Short-term goals
would be to give away some of the current produce that we just have an abundance of, because at this point we're going to have plenty to keep us going for the winter and until next summer, and
for most of it. Yeah. Like tomato sauce, I'm not sure how much we'll get. I probably have maybe 12 to 15 pounds I got to pick today. There's 10 more pounds in the house that still need to get cut up, because we're just freezing them right now, because we only have just a little window air conditioner. So if we can wait till it's cooler outside to can everything, because it takes so long to boil down and it just heats the house up so much, being able to throw them in the deep freeze and do it at a later date, not only does that make sure that we're still saving it, but when it's cooler outside and we want to warm the house up, we can just, I'm going to do a batch of tomato sauce, and we'll raise the temperature in the house quite a bit. Or
I think we're rambling a little bit. This video's like 25 minutes long.
She says we're rambling, so.
Yeah. But to kind of tie this whole video, for us probably getting off subject many times, mainly our goal is just to bring this family together, to make it through these stumbles that we've been faced, and
to really kick Murphy out of the house, because Murphy is not.
Let's kick Murphy out of the house.
Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Lorelei's in our window. I think that's our cue to wrap this video up, and but no, I just think I think we're hitting some goals. I think we've missed a couple, but we're learning nonetheless. And if anybody has any advice as far as coping or how to move forward with, you know, losing the job and trying to make things work, frugal. I'm all about the frugal grocery shopping. I try my hardest. I'm not the best at it. I'm not an extreme couponer or anything like that, but if you have any frugal advice when it comes to grocery shopping or meals, if you have any favorite meals, I would love to have some links to look up or pages that you have that I can follow you.
You can leave us a comment on here.
Yes, please do.
You can find us on Instagram at Schulte Family Homestead or on Facebook at Schulte Homestead. And I will link both of those in the description below.
And if you know of any awesome, cool properties that you think would suit our family somewhere, just let us know.
We're willing to almost go anywhere. No California.
No, I don't know. We live in northern Indiana right now, and I like the 4 seasons. Too far north, too much snow. Too far south, it's too hot. So like middle, I like the 4 seasons. If we can anything with the 4 seasons, let us know. But in all seriousness, you know, I'm sure you have faced similar situations, and we hope that you reach out to us, not only for helping us, but we would love to help you too, saying this is what's working for us.
We like to interact with you guys.
Yes,
so.
and Instagram is I think we're both active on there because our accounts are like linked up, so we both have access to it, and you know, I can see things and he can see things, and we try to respond as best we can. And you know, and on the YouTube channel, we appreciate you guys watching, and we hope that you hit that subscribe button. You know,
like the video, leave us some comments, and share the video with anybody you think might like the content that we're sharing.
Yeah.
And help grow the community, because that's really what homesteading is about. It's about family and it's about community.
Yeah.
We all stick together, we help each other, and that's really hard to find in really a lot of different areas of life. But homesteading is one of those that is a very tight-knit community.
Yeah.
And we love that.
Yeah. I think until next time, thank you for tuning in with us, and we hope you guys have a great day.
Take care. Bye.